I can just go ahead and turn it on, leave it on, and keep the motor cooler. This bike is a shaft drive. See if I can get it to focus in here on the final drive. But there it is. There's the final drive assembly where it bolts to the back tire. I have actually put 2 new tires on it this spring. They are both Shinkos. I believe the front one is, I honestly can't remember. But they're both Shinkos. I'm happy with them. I've mounted the tires myself. I balanced them myself. You know, maybe next year when I get ready to put a new set on it, I'll do a video on that, showing how to static balance a motorcycle tire. You know, if you're going to mount your own tires on YouTube, look up mounting motorcycle tires with zip ties. I tried that and it works. It saved me a lot of time. I literally put the tires on with nothing but dish soap, zip ties, and just a little pressure just to slide them on. But, you know, worked real easy. So, let me go in the house here and get my key, and we will start it up and let you hear it run. Of course, you have your dummy lights. Here is your choke. Well, this bike is very cold-natured. This bike is very cold-natured, so even though it's like 75 degrees, I still have to choke it to start it. You have your hazard flashers, your high and low beam, left and right turn signal. These are not self-canceling. Got your horn, start button, kill switch. That's what she sounds like at idle, nice and quiet when you're just sitting at traffic light. This bike is actually a very high revving bike for a street cruiser. It doesn't pack out to 8.5, but I find that the best shifting range is 7.5. So just to give you a sound check. And she fires up pretty easy. But I'm just going to say it again in case the camera didn't pick it up. This is actually a pretty high revving bike for a street bike. You don't actually tack out on this one until 8.5, but I find it, you get the best performance by short shifting at 7.5 on the tack. For normal street cruising, I usually shift out about 4,000, maybe 5,000 if I'm getting it up to highway speed. You know, that's, you know, good fuel economy range on this bike. You know, I ain't running it real hard, but, you know, you're still in the power band to have plenty of pull. So, this bike actually has a fuel gauge, which is very handy. I know not all bikes have those. As you can see, the tach and your speedometer are analog. You have dummy lights to indicate your left and right turn signal. You have a neutral light, an oil light. You have a high beam indicator. And this one comes on, it says headlamp, and that's actually a safety feature on these bikes, is that when your low beam goes out, your little headlamp light comes on to let you know that that's out, and it forces it over to your high beam for your running light. It's a safety feature because all your newer bikes, you have your headlight and all that stays on for running lights, for added visibility. One thing I do really like about this bike is that it came with a center kickstand. That's really, really handy when you're doing maintenance on the bike. You know, instead of having to try to, you know, block it up on 2x4s and, you know, get 2 or 3 buddies to try to lift it up or, you know, whatever. You know, I can take, center it up, put her up on the center stand. She sits nice and level. Sit there, you know, take the tires off of it, you know, do whatever you need. Just one thing I do want to note is that if you have to remove the front tire or anything like that, you do need to put a block under the front because of the weight distribution. You have more weight on the front end than you do the back. So if you take and try to pull the front tire off just on the center stand, she's going to nose down on you. So just, you know, maybe save somebody else a little pain and heartache that I had to go through. Other than that, she's a strong running bike. You know, I can run 70 miles an hour all day long. She never thinks nothing of it. So, you know, they're not a real expensive bike. I think I've got about $3 grand in this one. So, you know, you can pick them up pretty reasonable. They're not real big. They're not real heavy. You know, these bikes weigh in at a tick under 500 pounds. So, you know, they're a good mid-sized bike. You know, if you don't want to go the, you know, beginner bikes where, you know, like a little 250 Rebel, where, you know, you're pretty much topped out at 55, you know, find you like one of these little 750s. This bike is currently out of production now. It was produced from 1985 or 86, depending on whether it was a holdover or not. The 85, I believe the 85 was a Vn750, and the 86 they actually called it the 750. But they produced these bikes from about 85, 86 on up to 2006. So this is towards the end of the production run. Very little was changed on these bikes. Most, you know, some years they didn't even change the paint color on them. So, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, it's a good running little bike, and I absolutely love it. I plan on hanging on to this one for a good while. So, before this review gets too long, I'm going to wrap it up. This is my motorcycle. You'll probably see a lot more videos of me on her riding. And I'll see you all on the road.